Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Blackout Gaming TV. We have reached the climax of the competition, the finale to this fierce battle between all of the nations of the world to find out who is the best at Highlander. It is, of course, the 5th edition of ETF2L's Highlander Nations Cup. We started with over 30 teams signing up for the competition, and we've been whittled down to just the 2. And we will be seeing some sort of record happening here tonight, no matter who wins. In one corner, we have the 2013 champions, the United States, looking to become the first team since Sweden to win more than one Nations Cup. In their way will be Denmark. Last time around, they lost surprisingly in the semi-finals. However, they're back to try and claim their first ever Nations Cup and be only the 4th different team to win the Highlander title. I am Ceejaey, and on camera will be Wiethoofd, and co-casting with me tonight will be Voxdei. How are you doing, my man?
Yeah, I'm doing really well. I'm excited for grand finals. I'm really happy. Of course, you know, the U.S. team has made it this far, and hope they can wrap it up. A little, you know, maybe not biased, but a little pride for my nation. You know, so we'll see. We'll see if Denmark can stop them. They've been on quite a. I mean, obviously both teams been on quite a tear since they haven't lost, but each team definitely going to have their toughest challenge coming up soon.
Absolutely. I'm really hyped for this game. I think both teams are going to come up against factors on the enemy team that they haven't played so far in this competition. Both of these teams definitely tearing it up in the group stages and in the knockout stages. Of course, Denmark were one of the high seed teams. They started out in the high seed group, which basically meant the 4 teams guaranteed to reach the knockout stage. It was just determining placings, and in the end, they finished second in that. You know, they finished ahead of the defending champion Sweden, ahead of Germany. I think they're only 1 point behind England in the end, and they had some pretty strong performances, much to people's surprise. No doubting the quality on the Danish roster, but perhaps the commitment outside of the actual officials, maybe not scrimming as much as other teams, they still have performed very well. Whereas the USA have won every map they've played so far, coming first in their group, qualifying for the knockout stage. And in the knockout stage, we've had some interesting games for both teams. The United States beat France in the first round quite comfortably, 2-0. They moved on to a harder opponent in the next round, coming up against one of the high seed teams, which was England, but again winning that 2-0. And in the semi-finals, which was casted by myself on my channel, maybe a little bit inebriated, but I definitely saw the quality, as it was a very, very close game. The closest game the US had so far. They knocked out Germany, though, again 2-0, coming into the final, whereas Denmark have had a bit of a different ride. They beat Austria easily in round 1. In the quarterfinals, they had an extremely close game against Belgium, 2-1 on Upward, and then 3-2 on Product, but nevertheless, they did get through to the next round. Then in the semi-finals, they had to play against Russia. Russia got a default win against Sweden, the defending champions, in the quarterfinals, which meant that Russia were there within a chance of trying to beat them and get into their first final. But unfortunately for them, they were not able to. Denmark getting revenge for that third-place playoff knockout last time around, beating Russia across 2 maps and reaching the final. And here we are. I mean, like, You've seen a lot of games of the US so far. Sort of, how seriously do you think they're going to be taking this, Fox? I mean, are they hyped to get one over the Euros?
I know for a fact that this is really something they want. You know, I think that a lot of players have that mentality, like, oh, you know, it's really cool to not try or something like that. But I think that when it comes down to it, these guys really, it's not that they don't want to win, they don't want to lose, you know? So I think that actually adds a lot of fuel to the fire. There's a lot on the line, there's a lot of pride there. So obviously winning is the objective, but they don't want to lose. And I think that's a little bit of a different distinction to make. So they're definitely coming out here, maybe a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, because, you know, everyone wants to say, oh, you know, NA, haha, we're so much better than you guys. And I think that's shown, because they've played with a lot of determination, they've played with a lot of power, and they've gotten to this point. So
I mean, definitely. I mean, there's always tension between EU and NA all the time. And last time around wasn't it I-58 where Froyo got knocked out by Full Tilt. That was a very tense affair, and maybe it's time for the Highlander players to try and write their own little bit of history. I mean, like I did say before, they did win the competition back in 2013. They beat France in the final. France, who'd lost in the final the year before to Germany, were probably the heavy favourites, with the likes of Flippy and Tech playing in that team back then. So a lot of new faces this time around. And the maps we're going to be playing on tonight are very interesting. We've got Upward being our first map, which was picked by Denmark. Secondly, we've got Gullywash, which was picked by the USA. And finally, we have Product, which is the only map that wasn't picked nor banned by either team. So that'll be the decider map if we do go to 3 maps, which would be a first for both of these teams. Both of these teams in the knockout stages have got here winning all of the maps in the competition. I mean, how much do you think it's going to affect, I don't know, either team? Like, they've just basically turned up and won not only their map, but also their opponent's map. How do you think these teams are going to react to going a map down? Because it's inevitable. One of these teams is going to lose the map. And, do you think that's going to be a big mental thing in a final?
Yeah, I think you can definitely play with your head, especially, you like you said, you've gotten this far without too much trouble. Denmark had the one close match, I think you said, against Bulgaria. But, I really like to think that a lot of these guys are very familiar with defeat because they do play at such a high level, so they should know how to bounce back if something goes awry. And I think that's going to be really important because it is inevitable. One of these teams is going to drop a map, and maybe we'll see a 2-1. Maybe it'll just be a pure 2-0 on Upward. But you've got to have that mental fortitude to bounce back and not kind of give up. Oh man, we just lost our first map. That's it, guys. Let's throw in the towel. There's always room for improvement, and there's always someone hitting a clutch play, dropping the med at a certain point to propel you into a victory. So, you can't have that defeatist attitude, especially when you're playing in the grand finals.
Absolutely. I mean, the DM, the game sense, that all plays a part. But if you start losing your head, tilting or kind of getting frustrated or thinking there's no point, we're 1-0 down, let's move on. You can't have that creeping into your mentality. You need to stay strong the entire way. And many times in many finals, we've seen teams go down a map or two and bounce back. Obviously, this is a best of 3, so going down by 1 map, you will have to win the next 2 maps to have any chance of winning. But we're going to take a look at the rosters right now. I'm going to start off by looking at the Danish roster and giving my insight on the players who are playing. It's just been a roster that's changed a little bit over the course of this competition. But I would argue that this is their strongest roster at the moment. So starting off, we've got on Scout, we have Potato, more well known probably for his Lego, playing in 6v6, Premiership Scout, very, very strong. On Soldier, we have Thalash. Again, Thalash, probably more well known as a scout, does play for 7 and previously Full Tilt, and of course play for Strong Opinions, won 3 Prem titles for them, 3 Prem titles with SNSD, so technically the most kind of successful, I suppose, Highlander player of all time. But he's playing Soldier, very adept at Soldier as well, playing a bit of a different class. On Pyro, we have Pretzel. Now, in the past, it has been Yippee, the other Lego Scout, playing Pyro, but Pretzel played against Russia in the semi-final, and from what I could see, did very, very well. And he's been playing in the preseason Prem playoffs as well, so he's got experience playing against the top players. On Demo is none other than Dr. Phil. Dr. Phil, a legend in his own right. Has been playing Medic this season for Lego, but much more well known for his time as a Demo Man, and did play Demo Man in the Prem playoffs for Lego the other day, and has a lot of high experience playing for teams like Chess Club and Stacked over the years. On Heavy, we've got Overdose, who has been playing Heavy more and more as the competition has gone on. Cynthia, the captain, is on Engineer as opposed to Medic. Started out the competition playing as a Medic and has moved on to another class. She plays Engineer. On Medic instead, we have Zen. Again, another very, very experienced Dane. Plays for Lego, more well known as a scout or a soldier, but as Medic has put in some good performances, especially in the semi-final for Denmark against Russia. On Sniper, we are going to be having Cake. Cake has had a bit of a break from the game. Hasn't really played since the last Nations Cup 2 years ago. and did back up for Strong Opinions back in Season 9 when they won Prem, but he has plenty of talent and has been shown that he's back to form. He is playing to his normal best. And finally on Spy, we have, I mean, it's my boy, and I'm going to say it, probably the best Spy of all time. It's Toast. Very experienced. Does the whole dead ringer ambi thing, and I feel he's going to be one of the danger men for Denmark tonight. But Vox, do you want to give us some insight and rundown on the American roster?
Yeah, so over on Scout, we're gonna have Slemnish, who is a quite a qualified both Highlander and Sixes scout. So he's been playing at the top of each format for a while. And we saw him do really well on product against the English team. So he's going to be someone to look out for there. We're going to have Split on Soldier. I believe he was playing Demo initially during that quarterfinals match, switched over to Soldier, did quite well on it. Zukima is going to be continuing his duties on Pyro. Jarrett is going to be filling in for ODB on Demo, and if any American players are in the chat, I think you should know Jarrett, maybe a little bit of an older player. You know, see if he can fill those shoes that ODB has set. He was a huge performer during the quarterfinals, so we'll see if Jarrett can continue ODB's legacy. Carl, the man, the big brain Heavy himself, is going to be taking that role on Heavy, leader for the US team. Spamfest, what may be widely regarded as potentially the best engineer right now in Platinum and has been for a bit, is going to be taking that role. Skis on Medic, and I think he has one or two Plat championships under his belt, so he's good to go. Boar, whose name we said a billion times during the quarterfinals, is going to be continuing his dominance on Sniper. We're going to see if he can continue to have as good a game as he did last time. And then Vipa on Spy, who has been playing with DK. That's Carl's first place Plat team for quite a bit, so his experience is not to be denied as well.
I mean, it is two rosters filled with experience, like you said. Kind of the amount of winners, the amount of championships. I mean, if we had the time, if we had if I wasn't at work, I could sit down here and spend the day just giving a write-up of how many sort of UGC Platinum Championships, how many ETF2L Premiership titles have been won across these teams, how much Premiership and Platinum experience, just so much talent in these two rosters. Looking at the Danish team, I do feel the playmakers are going to be Toast, arguably. I think Cake is going to need to hold his own against Boar. If Cake can get a good game going, because Boar is definitely, Boar has been the man of the competition so far. Not only just the amount of frags, the pure fragging power he's put into the games he's played, but also the key picks. He gets the right picks at the right time, and every team who's played against him has said to me, it's just annoying. Every time we go to push, someone's dead because of Boar. Toast is an ambi spy, and Toast plays very differently to other spies that have played against Boar in this competition. So, I think if Toast can get his flow going and start getting that focus down onto Boar, I think the Danish flank is strong. And it's going to be interesting to see how they come up against, because I do think Slemnish has been one of the better scouts in the competition. He's been there at the right time, and has been focusing, coming in at the right time and just cleaning up. But we are live, set up for another 35 seconds. The old crits traps coming in from Skis here. Jarrett just spraying them out, just a bit of a warning shot. But in the blue will be Denmark. They'll be attacking first here, trying to set as fast a time as they can with the US of A defending for as long as they can. Then they'll be swapping around with the USA, trying to beat Denmark's time. This is a best of 3 and upward, first map of 3. Guys, we are live. This is the grand final of the ETF2L Highlanders Nations Cup 2017. Can I get a Denmark Vinda or a USA in chat? Who do you want to win? Vox, what's going to happen? Tell me. Take me through the suicide.
Yeah, I really want to see them suicide for Boar right off the bat. They should know that Boar is their power player. Get some pressure onto him, maybe give Cake a chance to get a uncontested shot on Playground. So it looks like now the sacks are going in. Yeah, the demo Dr. Phil does try to get on the Playground, but Boar is a little too far back for that. He does take out Falash though. So it's really all eyes on Cake and Boar to see who's going to get that opening shot on the enemy sniper. because whichever one falls first can really change the game for their team.
Absolutely. I'm not sure about Ceejaey's positioning. I've seen this from some medics holding on the health pack, and it is something okay to do, but, you know, oh, he could get forced here. No, he takes enough damage, but grabs the health back, so he is going to stay alive, doesn't need to use his Uber, as the Danish players are just throwing themselves in, just trying to get a pick here. Viper the only casualty for the USA, and that's only a spy, so nothing really too much to worry about for them. They are in a good position here. Carl and Ball are just kind of holding up the top pick. You know, Ball's just going some snipes, and Carl is just basically the anti-aircraft gun. Anyone who tries to jump his sniper is just going to get denied there by anyone trying to get aggressive. And, you know, at this point, I think a sniper pick is just as good as a medic pick. But actually, Dr. Phil comes in here. The Uber is used to takes down Jarrett. That demo has been dropped. Zukima also goes down, as does the Sentry. As Spamfest is going to use that Eureka effect to get out here, but Slemnish is trying to get some frags. Is getting aggressive, but Pretzel is going to take down the medic. Skis has gone down. Boar has also gone down very, very late to the lash. That's 2 alive, Vox. And USA are being rocked here.
Yeah, that was a very, very good push by Denmark. They did lose their medic in the push, as did the US team, but it could have been perfect had they not ended up losing Zenith towards the end. But I mean, using that Uber, focusing down the gun, and then cleaning up on every player was great. And now they're really aggressive, trying to see if they can take second really quickly. Split takes out the Lash, but he goes down, and so does Carl and Jarrett. So that's 2 combo members down. If they can get in on this gun, they might be able to take second really easily. Dr. Phil and the heavy overdose combined to take down the Sentry, and the US team is already backing out to third. Denmark is looking really, really good here.
Yeah, 2 minutes and 14 seconds for the first 2 points is pretty fast indeed. But Dr. Phil there got sniped by Boar. So that's just going to slow down Denmark's push. The Lash getting a little bit aggressive there. Look at Toast being juggled into the air, but he's invisible. So nobody actually could react to where he was. The Lash jumps in and takes out Skis. Medic down. 20-second respawn for the American medic now. And that's going to have a huge Uber advantage for Zen. Dr. Phil just respawning after getting spawn capped by Viper there, but Toast with the Ambassador has taken down Boar as well. So that is 2 huge picks here for Denmark, as Jarrett goes down as well. Sniped from the body shot. Cake there. The Uber is going to come in on Denmark. Dr. Phil taking most of it, but that sentry gun is going to get wrangled. It's going to take a lot to go down. Toast is going to come in behind. Can he get any frags? He does take down Spamfest. That means he's not going to be able to sentry for that last point, Vox. And Denmark are still rolling here, and they're going to have about a 10% advantage for last if they build this hard.
Yeah, they got to be a little careful. I mean, the US, although they shouldn't, they could contest because that cart is going to take a little while to get capped. But it looks like actually in behind is the Lash. He doesn't manage to take down. Oh, Skis, never mind, because Kate gets the headshot. So there he goes, and now they can just wait for this Uber. You know, Spamfest is just getting that level 1 up now. So 75%, they may only have to deal with a level 2, and they could roll into this last point with a great time.
Absolutely, but there's a lot of players who are very weak here on the Danish team. They're getting those arrows just to build them back up. Cake does go down though, so no snipes are going to come in as Jarrett gets some stickies down onto Pretzel, so no pyro in this Uber. Dr. Phil is going to take the majority of Uber, gets a lot of damage onto Carp, he's going to grab that health back. The Lash is going to jump in here, gets denied by the Sentry, trying to get some damage onto Spamfest. He does, and actually forces the Engineer into spawn. Jarrett is very weak here. He's being healed up by Skis, who is now at 60%, but that Sentry has gone down as well as Spamfest. And actually the Lash is trying to spawn camp. He gets a nice little air shot there onto a cloaked spy, but Viper does survive to live another day. But Jarrett gets taken down, as does Carl, and so much damage is being come in here from Dr. Phil. He's just raining hell down on America right now, as Viper gets 2 frags on the car, and that's going to slow it down as Borg gets a headshot onto Zen. And Vox, I think they've clutched this. They're holding it for slightly longer.
Yeah, they're very good job. I mean, trying to cap the card a little bit more was Dr. Phil. That Uber coming in at a great time to clean up some frags. They knew that they could use that Uber for free because, you know, they'll be able to build up at about the same time that Zenith will. So they've taken over that tiles area, which is where we often see teams hold. And now they're looking really good to have a solid last push. Spamfest is building up that gun. The combo's up in tiles, and they're at no Uber disadvantage. So the US team might be able to hold this for a decent amount of time, which, I mean, they need right now because those first 3 points got capped really quick. Toast gets a headshot onto Slemnish, and now alone is Skis as he runs back to spawn. I think he's going to be safe, but That was a dangerous position. Carl is down, Zukima is down as the Lash gets 2. And they might just be able to get this off of sheer force of will. Ceejaey hasn't been building for a while. That card is getting capped by Potato and now gets focused down by the gun. And now Denmark has an Uber to use and they figure out how they want to do this.
Yeah, Potato got some really good time on the cart, actually. He got it into a position just in there, but there you go, Boar getting another med pick in a row. Zen is down, and I'm pretty sure that was a drop coming out of the Danish medic there. Really unfortunate for him. So 100% advantage for Ceejaey, who did survive that earlier exchange. And Denmark did really well to take that high ground. They just barreled their players up those stairs, got so much damage down onto the American players. They had to back away, but like I always say on this map, if you get some sort of reset on last, it just helps the defending team so much, because they can just shore up their defenses, they can just get into a position and hold. Other points, usually it helps the attackers if you have an equal trade, but on this last point, it really does help the defending team. And as you can see, you know, there is a sentry up, level 3 by Spamfest in a really good position. The combo is up, Ceejaey with 100% Uber. Cake does get the body shot onto Boar, so there's sniper down for the defending team. And I might be able to make a little bit of space here for Denmark to make a play. 3 for 30 for the first 3 points. He's still very fast. I've been out Toast trying to get a little bit of cheeky cap time, just get that cart into a closer position before he dead rings away. 90% now for Zen, and actually the Uber's forced onto America.
Yeah, and I mean, Boar takes out Cake, so we know that we have to deal with the Boar factor. A late Uber because Denmark just got there, so they may be able to clean up. Jarek goes down, and so does Zukima. But a few players to that gun, the Lash, Pretzel, and Overdose get picked, including Zenith, actually, as Dr. Phil is a late death. So the U.S. yet again continue to hold this point, and despite their struggle on the first 3, they've looked really good here on last. You know, Denmark really needs to figure out how they need to just get that last bit of cap time, because they've gotten really close, but they haven't just been able to finish it out.
Yeah, their exchanges aren't going too well at the moment. You know, when they've got a big pick onto the medic on Ceejaey, they haven't really used their advantages. There's, you know, the medic's been sniped by Boar both times, but Viper here, he's on a 12 kill streak right now. So I think that might, sorry, make that 13 kill streak right now. I think that may have something to do with it, as you know, Danish players just getting picked off as he then gets a med pick, gets the revolver out and just takes down Zen. So Denmark's push is going to be delayed once again, and I just think it's stuff like that, Fox, that's happening, and Denmark aren't getting sort of a coordinated push. They're just losing players here and there, and it's making them struggle.
Yeah, I wonder if maybe there's a little bit of tilt coming out of Denmark. They've been struggling for a bit to push this point, and now with Vipa just consistently alive, I've been in situations like this, and you know, you can start the blame game on who needs to pick up what, who needs to do this, who needs to focus the spy, as I think he does finally officially go down. But either way, actually the gun gets picked off as well. This might be the push. They are at an Uber disadvantage. Ceejaey's about to have his, and he does. So they need to make sure they don't wipe if they charge in with the Uber. If they can get a pick onto Boar, as he actually picks one up himself, this may be the push for them. The Uber does get used up top, but it's largely useless. And now I think they're in a great position to do this once... Oh, Zenith actually went down. I missed that. Carl actually flanked below and took him out, so they always look so good, and then just some big play, this one coming out of Carl to stump their push.
Yeah, but I mean, the force coming in from Pretzel, he did really well there by himself to make sure Ceejaey used his Uber. So Ubers are still pretty much equal, but that car is just kind of going back and forth around that lower area. Cake goes down to Viper, so there's not going to be any picks from him. As Slash tries to go for a bomb, 1v1 versus Zukima, but Pyro is able to reflect, and Boar gets the body shot onto Dr. Phil. So demo down. No explosive classes coming in from Denmark, so it's going to be hard for them to make any space that way. And Denmark right now looking a little bit stuck. They need to find a way to kind of probe in, because at the moment they're going the same way, and each time USA are able to just counter it by doing what they're doing, but at the moment they're holding on the floor. So Spamfist has his sentry in the same position, but this time USA are holding their combo on the floor as the Uber does come in from Denmark. Finally, a lot of damage comes down onto the sentry, which does get exchanged as Ceejaey. Oh, a nice little surf there just to stay alive and not fall into that pit. But a couple of players dying here for Denmark. 3 down, but Skis does go down. Double backstab from Toast to take down Split and Skis. Cake with the body shot onto Boar. So no sniper. 3 players live for the USA right now. Carl is going to be so important. 300 HP. He's still alive in the lower area, but he's going to get taken down by Overdose on a 6 kill streak just to make things flashy for him. But 10:43, I mean, it's taken them just over 7 minutes to capture that last point after such a lightning first 3 points. They're not going to be too happy with that last push, and Vox, I think the USA are going to be slightly happier.
Yeah, that's really disappointing if you're Denmark. I mean, they looked just so good, and on that last point, just stalling and struggling. I mean, they've got to feel a little relieved that they at least capped. We haven't gotten a chance to see their defense. Who knows? Maybe they're going to come out and completely shock the U.S. Boar, was able to get his shots in. I don't think he was as dominant as Vipa that round. So, maybe if they can keep Cake buffed, he can continue to exchange blows with Boar, and then just worry about Vipa a little bit more. And you might have a really good defense. So as long as they can keep the first 3 points a little longer, and maybe just if they get to last, only have about 4 minutes to push, they could end up coming out with this round win. Denmark, that is. But definitely a lot of time for the U.S. to have some trial and error.
Absolutely. I mean, it gives them a lot of time to play with. There's not that much pressure. But, Denmark did push the first 3 points very quickly. So if Denmark can, eke out a couple of minutes per point, like you said, that's 6 minutes for the first 3. That leaves 4 for the last. And like we've seen in many games this season, that last point can be a bit difficult to push, as the 2 assassin classes who were top fragging in that first half of the round, Boar and Viper, both die early on. Cake getting the better of his opponent this time around. So just the cart being pushed up here by the USA. Toast is going to get taken down, trying to ambi people from that upper area. But Chariot and Zukima are so very weak here for the USA. They're just trying to probe, and they do get finished off there by Overdose, as Carl is trying to get actually onto the cart, takes down Overdose. So some great aggression coming out of him there, but the rest of the players on the cart just get taken down. But that heavy pick might be key. It might trigger the push here from the USA.
Yeah, he's still going to be on another 10 seconds of respawn. Wow, Boar actually hits the shot onto Sinter before going down to Toast. So just a little bit too late on that ambi shot. He's going to have another about 5 seconds before he respawns. And it looks like the US team is going to be using the Uber, leading with the Scout, then on the demo. They should be able to take down the gun since the NG wasn't around, but a better Uber out of the Danish team. I think they might just want to back out here as Boar takes down Cake. They lose a couple more players. Jarrett jumps over the top, maybe going to be able to do something to Zenith, but a good job by Potato kind of warding him off.
Yeah, it took them about a minute 30 for that first point, so fairly fast. It was just that one Uber exchange. Overdose is quite far forward here in the side tunnel. Might get caught out. Jarrett is aware, and Slemnish is on the hunt to try and take him down as Overdose tries to escape through this lower tunnel. But the USA are so aggressive. Viper with the backstab onto Dr. Phil, and Zukima finishing off Overdose as he tried to escape. So 2 key combo classes are down here. That sentry is going to be important, but it gets sapped at just the right time. The Lash is going to take down Carl. So that should slow down the push and maybe get a bit of a stabilization here for Denmark, as it does look like the second point is going to go down in the favor of the USA. They're pushing it slowly though. Only ×1 for a lot of that fight. But Boar is getting hassled by the headshots from Toast there behind enemy lines, who tries to go onto the cart and just has to dead ring away. But USA in total control of this area right now. And it's going to be about 8 minutes and 20 seconds for the last 2 points. So still kind of pushing at the pace that Denmark set, but this third point, if you get a good hold up, then it can be very strong. And this time around we do see equal Ubers, so Denmark in a good position to hold this point for longer than the US did. But I mean, USA, they've got the bit between their teeth right now, and they're looking hungry for more frags.
Yeah, maybe a little bit too safe to back out there, but I think with the time that they set, and the fact that third can be such a stronghold, I definitely understand why they would want to back out there. I mean, there's such a long way the cart needs to go. Even Ubers for each team. Boar does get the shot onto Cake, so now they got to worry about that. Jared actually falls into the pit, so that's no demo if they decide to push here. And Boar is actually in the shit house, the shit shack over on the other side, and he takes out Overdose. Someone's got to go deal with him, and it's going to be Dr. Phil. He can't go down here. You can't lose your demo to a cheeky play like this. The gun is going to get taken out. They haven't even used their Uber yet, and now they're going to have to do something. The Uber gets used. Skis.
Pretzel! Pretzel with the big play. He falls off as well, gets pushed away by Zukima. But huge play there from Pretzel, just denying the Uber. You cannot use your Uber if you're falling off the cliff. That's 4 players left alive for the USA there. I think it was the conch from Thalash who has saved it in the end. But Pretzel with the big plays types in chat, technically a drop? Question mark. I mean, Skis use the Uber, but you know, if you die during the Uber, I guess it is a drop. As Ball goes down there to Toast, just again pressuring with those ambi headshots. But Denmark live to fight another day on this third point. That cart is pretty close, as Dr. Phil getting a 2k takes down Spamfest and Viper with the sticky traps just to deny any time on that cart, as Potato is fighting a 1v1 versus a sentry right now. As we had a little maybe just a little lag spike there. Nothing untoward, I don't think, but Skis going down to the backstrap from Toast. So huge Uber advantage for Zen right now. He's at 100%. But America is still pushing. They're just fragging, and they're pushing this cart here, Vox.
Yeah, the Danish team does use Uber. No one's blocking the cart, though. Zukima! Wow, he just reflects a rocket to end up finishing off the cart. They use Uber, but they didn't focus the one player that was sitting on it. Vipa takes out Zenith as he goes for the Uber saw to stay alive, but unable to. So now Skis is going to be sitting at gonna have a pretty hefty advantage when Zenith respawns. And I don't know, this doesn't look very good. They have the respawns coming in. Boar takes out Center, who was carrying his gun, so now they don't have to worry about a sentry. Zenith is just going to be respawning now as Skis is sitting at 50%, and this looks really good for the US team to push right now as they continue to frag out.
Yeah, Paul gets another snipe onto Zen. There are some respawns coming in from Denmark, but they're just going to get absolutely disintegrated as they walk out that spawn door. Carl is going to die. There's only 3 players alive now for Denmark. BlackOut's going to tumble in with about 5 minutes left on the clock there. So that was about a 5-minute time perhaps coming out of the USA there. Very, very strong. The first 3 points pretty much akin to what Denmark set, but that final point, just the momentum, I think, from that third point just carried the USA over. And because Denmark didn't really have that same kind of collapse effect where they just moved from third to last and were able to just finalize the cap point early on in the game, they got stalled out, and the USA showed how it's done. Just continue. And the thing that's impressed me with the USA actually is the fact that we saw on that third point some clutch plays. You know, Pretzel with the reflect, pushing Skis off there, and also Thalash with the conch coming in and cleaning up. Toast getting backstabs onto Skis. So huge Uber advantage for Zen and his team. You know, 100% in the bank, players in position, but the USA just walked forward and Ball was getting picks, other players were getting picks and just getting frags, getting damage, and America just took that space. And it's, you know, you could argue that Denmark should have probably at one point realized, okay, we're dropping too many players here, and used their Uber, but instead they just kind of bled players until it was too late, and they don't seem scared.
Yeah, the one disappointing thing for me for Denmark was they could have had a better, like a longer hold on third, but I think they stopped focusing the cart, which, gave them a little trouble. So after they stopped focusing the cart, of course, the US team was just able to push it, even though they were down a medic and there was an Uber being used. And who knows, that could have kind of snowballed into a longer hold for third. But we are going to be getting ready here for our second half.
Yeah, there are unfortunately no logs. I'm trying to find them, but they don't seem to be available. So hopefully these will get uploaded later. But I can say, based on the points and based on sort of looking on the in-game stats throughout that game, Viper and Ball were pretty much top fragging throughout the game. I think Ball is he's getting kills, and he's getting annoying kills. That's just frustrating Denmark, especially when they're trying to push. But when they're defending, Ball's just opening the doors for them. Whereas the majority of Viper's kills were coming on that last point. He was just getting in behind and just fragging, and just picking off the odd person here and there, which was it was frustrating Denmark. They could never push with all 9 players alive. They get a pick onto Ceejaey or something like that, or they take the sentry down, but they were losing a soldier or they were losing a demo, and it really frustrated them. So 1-0 to the USA on this first map. It was Denmark's pick, so pressure on the Europeans now to try and claw something back on their map of choice. But this time around, we can see the USA pushing first. They're in the blue, Denmark in the red. And we'll see what happens this time and see if USA can get a similar attacking time as Cake gets the first frag to take down Ball, and also Toast. Spy on spy action, gets a headshot himself and takes down the spy. Jarrett goes down without actually causing that much damage at all. I don't know, that's pretty much a carbon copy of what we saw in that previous round there, Vox.
Yeah, the suicide wave so far not too effective. Boar is going to take down Thalash, which, Soldier at this point is annoying, maybe not crucial. But he is going to go down nonetheless. Vipa looking to get behind, maybe going to get in a position for a sap if the Uber gets used. But they do still need to worry about Cake. Oh, no, never mind. Just cut me off, Boar, why don't you? As he gets the headshot there. So with no sniper, they're going to get right in on this Uber, start focusing down the gun. They are going to take it out without the help of the sapper. And now with this Uber, the Danish team is just going to back out. They do manage to keep most of their players. Dr. Phil and Cake are going to be on a respawn coming up right about now. Vipa is in their spawn and they don't realize, so maybe he can get a cheeky stab. But harassing right now on Cliff is Toast, maybe buying a little time for his team to get into a position to defend.
He's getting decent damage down there. He got a couple of headshots, which just slowed down the USA as they were taking spam. Dr. Phil really aggressive here, but he has no support from the rest of his team. He's going to get taken down there by Slemnish. And again, we haven't had a chance to see this sort of infamous octopus hold, which has been used by teams of late as the aggression from first point. There's the Lash is in for the bomb, lands a rocket and actually takes down the sentry gun and Slemnish, but cannot take down the medic. Board does get taken down by Cake though. So the USA are going to get this second point. They are going to cap it out as they have total control over this doorway. But the Denmark team probably wisely, again, backing off to third, getting themselves set up into a decent position. Both teams have 100% Uber. Cake is just about to respawn, so he'll be watching that sightline soon enough. And now it's about the USA. Can they get the picks? Can they make something happen here? Because the pressure is definitely on them. As wow, Dr. Phil there with the stickies takes down Boar, so USA are going to have to find another person to open that door for them.
Yeah, and Cake gets the headshot onto Carl. This Uber is pretty much useless. Oh, but Vipa's going to get the backstab onto Zenith, so now Jarrett had a little bit of Uber that he could do something with, but it looks like the US team is going to start getting that cart up the roller coaster, and now with no medic on the Danish side, they might be in a little bit of trouble. Good job by Cake to take out Split, but Boar's going to get the body shot onto Dr. Phil. Vipa, just such a crucial pick there, and it might cost him the point. Cake gets the body shot on Boar, so no sniper to worry about. If they can get a few players forward, they might be able to stop this aggression and wipe the US team, but it's not looking very good for them right now.
Definitely, but some Wrangler action going there from Sinter does take down Jarrett. Potato picks up Carl, and there's actually a lot of frags coming in from Denmark, but it doesn't matter what the reflect from Zukima is going to take down Thalash. And the Uber is forced here. Ski's going down to about 30 HP. Dr. Phil goes down to the Boston Basher. That sentry was just kind of forcing the American players back there. They're trying to push the cart 325. So that's actually 5 seconds faster than the very fast time we saw from Denmark on the first 3 points in that earlier round. But Pretzel here getting really aggressive, pushing the players down that stairway. Zen actually gets an Uber saw kill onto Slemnish. So staying alive there, has 100% Uber now. Ski's 50% behind. But Boar is in a position here trying to get some space, trying to see what he can pick. Dr. Phil is going to jump up there and just rain down some stickies. Can he get some damage? Does take down Boar, probably the biggest threat. Also takes down Slemnish with the bites. Dr. Pill in chat, if you please. And Denmark just trying to look onto something to hold on to here, but they get the fourth frag in quick succession, and maybe just starting to settle down here, Vox.
Yeah, they need to have the kind of hold the US team did last time. continue to get picks, continue to focus down Skis. Boar's going to get the headshot onto Cake, which is a pretty big deal right now. No sniper to defend your last point with. Vipa maybe getting into a position for the gun right now, so Sinter's got to be pretty careful. The sap goes down, and he's all the way in spawn. They do manage to focus down the gun. Uber does get exchange up in the tiles area. Good job denying so far by Pretzel, but he's going to need more than just himself on this Uber if they want to clear out the rest of the players on the US team. Dr. Phil is back, manages to take out Zukima, but I don't know if he can 1v3 without heals here. So now, with only a couple players left alive, the US team might be able to do this.
Yeah, I mean, great damage there by Dr. Phil on the stairways, just focusing stuff down. But wow, focusing the cart here, take down a few players. Spamfest is now on there, doing the best he can, but Potato's in, and he's going to pick up one, pick up two, with the help from that sentry, that mini sentry by Sinter up in the window. But Boar is going to get a couple more snipes to make that three. Takes down Sinter as well. USA just focusing on the cart. Dr. Phil trying to get as much damage as he can, but he cannot, and it's a pretty similar time to what we saw the USA push earlier on, 5:27, and now you take the pressure and it's all on Denmark's plate right now. I mean, I've said this before, you know, you come in, like when you're playing at the top level, you come into these best of threes and you think, hey, there's potentially 3 maps here, but we can win this in 2. Doesn't matter that the other enemy team picked this map, we can win this map and, you know, whatever. But there must be a little part of you nagging inside saying, we picked this map, and if we lose it, then we're going on to a map that they want and they really like. It's a difficult proposition, and Denmark here have to get a time faster than 5:27, otherwise they're going to lose 2-0 here on upward. I mean, what was it there? What was the deciding factor, Vox, for them on that first round, like that first half?
Yeah, so what I really liked, and I'm going to focus more on the last push, but that one that finally broke it, you saw kind of targeted attacks on 2 different sides. So you had the combo that focused down the enemy combo, so you had the Uber exchange and tiles, but at the same time, Vipa and I can't remember who else focused down the gun. So you kind of had 2 different things going on at the same time, so no like little subsection of the team could help one another. And I mean, what are you going to do when you just have that level of coordination? Cake does take down Boar, though, at the start of this round, so that's a huge pick if you want to take first quickly. And there's going to be no sniper to worry about, and I wonder if they might just want to get aggressive right away.
Actually, the person getting aggressive was Jarrett there. Saw Cake trying to move forward and get a bit of extra space for himself, and Jarrett just walks forward and gets a lot of damage down onto Cake to take him down. But Jarrett gets dropped out here. The Uber exchange goes on. Zukima is pretty low on health and gets flashed. That's the Slemnish. Dr. Phil does go down there, as does Pretzel. That was really unfortunate for them, but Thalash comes in, picks up 3, and then Carl goes down to Potato as well. The flank for Denmark turning it on right now, and Thalash is going to pick up Boar on the escape and overdose with that Tomislav. Cheeky little sniping heavy is going to take down Skis as well. Very late respawns with Skis on Boar here. That could be decisive, as Denmark need a fast time, and that's exactly what they've done on the first point here, Vox. But, you know, do you think US are just going to back off to third, or they're going to try and hold second?
They're going to try a bit, but I think probably pretty soon they're going to realize that Denmark has brought the entire team, and yeah, I think at this point they're kind of a little choked off in their spawn. They're playing pretty back towards third, and I think that's what they want to do. The Lash is actually in, and he manages to take down Skis. Very, very good awareness for him to understand where they were going to be playing, go for the bomb, coming from somewhere they wouldn't expect as well, and gets yet another pick on the enemy medic. So he's looking really good right now. The Lash coming up huge for the Danish team.
Definitely 100% in the hands of Zen right now. They're starting to walk up this slope. Carl is there, and actually backstab from Toast is going to take down Jarrett. So no demo, no sniper. Ball just about to respawn soon, but he's not going to be in this fight, as Denmark seem to have control of this corner already. The car is so far behind there as Slash and Pretzel go down. This could be a mistake, but no, Spamfist goes down to Cake. Another body shot coming out from the Danish sniper, really starting to turn it on in this next round. Skis is in a position here in the corner near the balcony, and Denmark do use their Uber. Zukima goes down to Cake. Another shot coming in from the sniper. Dr. Finn is dropped from the Uber actually, and Denmark have to be careful that they don't get overrun by the respawns from the USA.
Yeah, that's always kind of high risk, high reward if you play too close You have to use your Uber early, and if the cart's so far back, you might not be able to cap off of it. Good job by Potato to take out Split, who is his main opposition, to try to get that cart a little further, but a few more players from the US team get there to help out. Spamfest is on mini sentries, and Skis is going to be at 100%. So with Zenith kind of going down a little late there, if they, without a level 3, they might actually be able to do this, but they need to try to force off Skis' Uber early. The cart's close, there's no level 3, just get your players, get them healed, and maybe even just go for a quick sack wave as long as you can keep your medic alive.
Yeah, basically a play needs to come in onto Skis right now as there is a double bomb and a lot of damage going down. Skis does use his Uber, went down to about 50 HP there as Jarrett died earlier on to Toast, so there was no demo to help in that protection. The Zukima is also down, so those are two really key classes on this point, but Boar and Viper are picking up some frags on the flank. Cake goes down there to the Wrangled Mini from Spamfest. He's just moving it around, trying to keep Denmark guessing about where it's going to be, but there is an advantage here for Zen now, 80%, double the Uber of Skis. And I don't know, this is kind of last chance saloon for Upward right now for Denmark. They need to get this Uber and actually get it in. They need to make it work. And if they do, they can roll this all the way to last. And the USA know that, and they're going to probably be playing quite passive, not trying to overcommit onto this third point. Cake getting a frag onto Slemish as the Uber comes in. Dr. Phil is being juggled really high in the air, and it's not really getting anything done. The sentry is down, and there is cap time. But like I said, the USA are just backing off to third here. They don't really need to contest this, but it looks like they might try to, Vox.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of, I don't know, this is maybe a misplay out of the US team. If they lose too many players here, it could spell the round, but I mean, high risk, high reward. They managed to stop the cart from being capped. If they can stop overdose here rather, they may have a chance to just close it out here. Under a minute left. I think this is still technically possible, but a lot needs to go Denmark's way in order to take this. Cake is going to get in on the cart, getting taken out by Jarrett. They finally cap it up, but the rest of the US team is already back. Spamfest getting a level 3 built up. This is so scary.
Skis
this makes
did go
me so
down.
nervous.
So Skis went down. He is in a good position up top, and I think it takes 40 seconds from third point to last. So 25 seconds left on the clock. This is still doable if they keep ×3, but they need some frags. As Overdose is taking the high ground, takes down Zukima. Cakey is down, but Split also gets traded there for Potato. There is actually a level 2 here from Spamfest, but he is getting spammed himself by Thalash. Has to go into the spawn. 10 seconds to go. People need to get onto the car, but USA know that, and they're just focusing their spam right down there. 5 seconds, and I'm going to call it. That is it for this first map. GGs are being called in the chat right now, as USA are going to hold on to that last point. Maybe a bit of overcommittal there on third, almost cost them the round, but in the end it is going to be 2-0 on Upward to the USA. They take the first map in this tie, and Denmark going to have to move to Gullywash knowing that they need to win the map to stay in this competition.
Yeah, that is, man, that level 3 at the end, it's just heartbreaking. Denmark almost able to do it, almost able to pull it out. They were just so close. I mean, always you can go back and think of these little random things. Oh, if we have done this, if this had happened, maybe we could have, but, either way, it's going to be a close 2-0, and I believe, we do have logs for this half.
We do actually have logs for the second half, so not sure where those first half logs mysteriously disappeared to. But taking a look at these ones, top fragging was Boar with 17. Just behind him was Cake, actually. 16 kills, so not doing too badly. Like I said, been away from the game for a while. And he's holding his own at the moment against probably the best sniper in the competition so far, based on the performances. But Dr. Phil there with a mighty amount of damage, 411. A minute, just ahead of Boar there, who didn't quite crack 400. But it's interesting when you take a look at the top 6 fraggers, 4 of them are Danish there. You know, you got Thalash on 13, Toast and Dr. Phil on 11. Slemnish was the only other American to break that top set, going 15 for 11. Again, doing pretty well for a scout on a payload map, something we usually see. And that's going to bode well moving into this next map. Is obviously going to be very DM friendly. And it's going to be a nice thing for the Sixes players to take a look at. But, I mean, is any other players standing out for you there, Vox?
I mean, I think a lot needs to be said with Cake keeping up with Boar. Obviously, Boar still kind of got his in terms of getting the frags, getting picks. If we had those first half logs, I think they may be a little bit more tilted in Boar's favor. But I mean, like you said, he's only one frag behind, but actually the sniper v sniper Cake won that just barely 5-4. But that's exactly what they needed from him, and he stepped up, and it ended up being a really, really close round because of that. So if Cake can bring that momentum into this map and continue to deal with Boar, I think Denmark has a really good chance to maybe take US's map and then force the third. So that's going to be really important, and also keeping down Vipa. So I mean, this half he ends up getting 7 frags, which isn't too bad at all. But compared to his carnage in the first half, clearly they did something to try to target him a little bit more and keep him down. So if they can just build upon what they started on that second round and upward and bring it into Gully Wash, despite the fact that it's a completely different map, but just take that momentum, they could end up bringing us to a third map and potentially could win the whole thing.
I agree, and I do think, like, coming into this map, I'm gonna have to say, if you, like, we were talking about it in the pregame, weren't we, before the cast started, and I firmly believed that Upward was the US's choice and that Gully was Denmark's choice. And I'm going to explain my reasoning, right? Because in previous games, Upward has not been a strong point for Denmark. I mean, maybe they've played it a lot in the previous rounds that they feel, okay, we've played it enough now that we're going to be comfortable on it. But I remember against Belgium, them saying in the post-match interview after they won it 2-1, but it was extremely close. And it was extremely close against Russia, and they said it's not our favourite map. So it surprises me that they actually picked it. And it's more of a Highlander based map. There's a lot of sixes players on the Danish team, so I would feel they'd be more comfortable on a map like this. Players like Zen, Potato, Dr. Phil, Thalash, these are players that have played at the highest level of sixes TF2. I mean, Thalash has played in, LAN finals for 7, for Full Tilt, iSeries fight. He's got that kind of experience. Dr. Phil has played in Premiership finals with Zen and Potato and players like that. So, ping advantage is a thing. This is a European-based tournament, so the Americans are having to play with over 100 ping. And I'm just wondering, we've seen Thalash do some big plays. If Potato and Thalash can play together on a, Potato looked maybe a little bit out of his depth on Upward. If he comes to more comfortable ground like Gully Wash, I'm really looking at this thinking, well, actually, I feel that Denmark could do this on this next map. I feel this is a stronger map for them. I mean, I don't know what you think. You obviously have much more knowledge about the American players. Slemnish has been an absolute beast all through this tournament. And I expect him to be up there with the fragging as well. Just sort of how good is the American flank?
Yeah, so I mean I'm more in the boat of Slemnish than I am with Split, and that's not supposed to be a dig against Split. I just think Slemnish is such a strong performer, and he has been towards the top of Invite for a long time, and at the top of Highlander as well. So I think that he's going to be doing the lion's share of the work on the flank, but I think Vipa actually will be playing around there as well as Spamfest. So you're not just going to have the scout and the soldier, you're going to have the spy harassing and Spamfest, who is a very, very strong DMNG. He gonna be kind of stacking the deck in the US's favor over on the flanks of the map. So that's something they need to worry about. And I mean, overall, too, in terms of how I think the US will play on this map, this is Carl's favorite 5CP map for Highlander, so he's got to love it for a reason. And I'm always wondering, what he's going to come up with, what strategies he has, and just his main calling and the knowledge he has may be enough for the US team to feel supremely comfortable on this map, which is why they picked it.
Absolutely. They did play this map against Germany in the semi-finals. They played against France also in round 1, and they won that very comfortably. But in the semi-finals, it was a slightly different roster for the USA. They had ODB on demo, who actually top-fragged in that game against Germany on Gully Wash. And they also had Corsair playing Soldier. But other than that, and they also had Nursey on Medic. But other than that, pretty much the same players. And Slemnish did very, very well there. But they only won 3-1. They only won 3-1. And, a win is a win. and you can argue all sort of things. Oh, it was only, they wore down the time or whatever. But I would argue again that the Danish kind of sixes players, as we call them, the scout, the demo, the soldier, they were stronger than the German players, and I think if Dr. Phil can, tank up some heals, I feel that Carl is obviously beast on heavy and probably much more experienced than Overdose. But if Dr. Phil can really get going and really sort of kind of control the combo area, then the flank can run wild for Denmark if they start to get the openings. I'm gonna favour the players with the higher ping, with the lower ping. Sorry, but also I think Boar is a trump card. Excuse the pun, but he's done well on every map he's played. And on Gullywash against Germany, he definitely opened the doors by just kind of getting really key picks, taking down a medic or taking down a demo in the stalemates. And if your sniper's able to do that, then it really puts the pressure on you to not peek those sight lines, to make sure that your sniper's constantly buffed, etc., etc. So, I mean, I think this is going to be close. And I'm really going to be interested to see the dynamic that we see coming between the two teams.
Yeah, it's going to be I think it's going to be more like that upward second round. I think there's going to be a lot of aggression. I've loved the aggression out of the US team, and they're not playing scared right now. And I think part of that is the fact that they've made it this far off of just being an aggressive team, and I don't know, maybe made it a little further than they were expecting. The road, although difficult, hasn't been potentially as difficult as they thought it was going to be. So maybe they just feel really confident, and that's why they're playing so aggressive. And it worked out for them really well on Upward, because they weren't playing scared of the sniper. They weren't playing scared of anyone. They were just going in and kind of playing their own game. So especially with Gullywash, which is a little bit more free and open for the flank to run around with, we could see Split get involved a little bit more. Slemnish continue to do well, and of course, I mean, you still need to worry about the performers from last round with Boar and Vipa, and Jarrett will probably have a decent game as well. So you really are going to have a pretty big clash on this map, because I think both teams are going to play really aggressively, and I want to see if the Lash can continue doing as well as he has, because he was making life really difficult for Skis, and if he can do that on this map, with how many points you can lose off of like one bad push or something like that, you can get rolled from last to the other last off of that. If the Lash has a good game, it could really spell curtains for the US.
Absolutely. It'll be interesting to see. I think the early rounds are going to definitely dictate the flow of the game. Whichever team is going to be able to be more dominant on those mids and take control with early rounds could end up leading the game. But we are having a bit of a conversation here. Danish players asking the Americans, do they eat bananas with Ceejaey? I'm sure Danish people understand, or I'm probably mispronouncing it. And then apparently Pretzel likes his green bananas, and Americans think that's disgusting. So there we go. There's a debate for you guys in Twitch chat. Do you like your bananas green? And do you like Ceejaey? But we're just waiting for Skis. Apparently needs to restart his computer as he's lagging a little bit. Interesting thing about Thalash playing Soldier. I mean, I talked to you about him earlier on. He was the scout for my Highlander team for many seasons. Did play his Soldier in one game. Was the semi-finals of Season 10 Premiership. And on the first point of Borneo, he shot a rocket at a pyro, and it killed 3 players. Yeah, I mean, we haven't seen very many reflex today, but that's something I always remind Thalash about when I see him playing Soldier. But we are just waiting for the teams to ready up here. One thing I wanted to note was that we did have the high seed group in this tournament. This is obviously the grand final, so there's no more games after this other than the third place playoff between Russia and Germany at some point. But we had this high seed group with the idea being those were the 4 strongest teams, and that they would go on to kind of most likely play against each other in the semi-finals and kind of rank themselves in the group stage, blah, blah, blah. But Denmark are the last remaining high seed team. England, Germany got knocked out by the USA, and Sweden had to give a default win to Russia as they were unable to field a roster by the time the deadline was. So interesting to see that of the 4 high-seeded teams, only 2 of them managed to get to the semi-finals. But it will be interesting, I think, to like I said, I think the early rounds are really going to dictate the pace here of the of the game. And I think if we do go to a third map, I was talking to Ball the other night, and he just said to me, he said, bro, product. I don't lose product. So, I mean, they're going to be confident if they get to product. I think equally Denmark will as well. So just you know, I suppose I've got to be the European side here, and obviously I want my boys on the Danish team to win. But I would just love to see a third map just to see like how chaotic it will be, because I can imagine it's going to be insane. Germany versus US game on product went 3-2, and I can imagine it'll be even more insane. So just for that, just for the spectacle as well, I hope we get to see a third map.
Yeah, there's always a little bit of difference when you're a fan of a team or you're just a fan of the game, you know? I always think about that, and every time I cast, I'm always hoping to see as much action as possible. You know, if you're diehard rooting for the US or Denmark, you probably wanted to see just like utter annihilation, easy victories, and then you can, have those bragging rights. Oh yeah, we're the best. Our nation is the best. But when you really are a fan of just seeing high octane, really strong teams go at it, definitely want to see as much as possible, especially on product. I mean, it's the quintessential competitive map. You know, it's played in every format that TF2 has at this point, competitive format. So I mean, that's for a reason. It's not just because it's there. It's because it's such a, I don't know, it's a chaotic map, but there's also a lot of strategy. You get to see a lot of frags go back and forth, and it's always fun to see a match on product. So obviously, you know, I'm rooting for the US. I got to, but I do really want to see product go down. So
I really do. I really do. And I mean, you were talking, I'm just getting really hungry here. There's so many like food-based names. We were talking about it earlier. We've got potato, we've got cake, we've got toast, we've got a pretzel. I mean, take your pick. Which do you prefer to eat while you're watching a Highlander games? But I do believe we are going live soon. So for those of you just joining us, we're at BlackOut Gaming TV, and we are casting the grand final of the 2017 Highlander Nations Cup. USA have won it once before, back in 2013. They'll be looking to be only the second team to win it twice. Denmark in the final for the first time. Can they win it for the first time? Become the fifth different nation to win it. We are live on the mid-fight. USA in the blue, Denmark in the red. Denmark Vinder or USA. Let me know in Twitch chat. Vox, what's going on in this mid-fight?
Well, right off the bat, not too much going on. Split is going to take down the enemy sentry gun, which, you know, as long as that's not there, that can be good. But Jared actually takes down Cake, and Thalash goes down as well, as Toast picks up the backstab onto Jared. So Boar's going to get his, Spamfest and Slemdish combining for a couple. There's just no way to keep up with this, but it looks like the US team is actually going to have the better frags, but Denmark comes down with the point. So just a really strong focus on the point might slow down the US team enough that they might not be able to take second if those respawns can come in time. But the UST did manage to take down Zenith and all of this, which is a big deal because now Slemdish is sitting at a huge 80% advantage.
It is, and that's going to allow the US to maybe push last with this huge advantage here. It was a really interesting mid-fight. Denmark got really, really aggressive. They took the ground, they got onto the point. Like you said, they did capture the point, but the USA played a nice passive style, got themselves into position, and then just played off of the damage as they are getting the second cap. Dr. Phil is still dead, though, for another 7 seconds. As is the Lash, there's going to be no spam here, but Cake there getting a snipe onto Boar, so I don't think that's going to stop the USA. Look at Split, he's in water. I think they're aware as the Uber does come in. Wow, so much focus. Slemdish picks up Pretzel, Potato over to Cynthia, all going down, but Toast is going to get a double backstab. Carl and Ski's going to go down. So much focus onto the point here. Viper is trying to frag Dr. Phil. He's so weak. Dr. Phil picks up 3. Finally goes down to Spamfest. Zen is going to take down the sentry gun. He's the last man alive. Can he block the point? No, he cannot. And that first early round is going to go to the USA Vox. And not the most clinical of pushes I've ever seen on Gully Wash last, but in the end, it just, the chaos played into their favor.
Yeah, no doubt. And I got a feel for Denmark there. I feel like they killed so many people, and then at some point they're going to be like, wait, there's another one? There's another one here? Because Dr. Phil killed so many, but there's just an onslaught of those U.S. members onto the point. But we are here on our next mid. Both demos now spamming towards the enemy big door. And this time the U.S. is going to jump on the point early, and you don't see Denmark as aggressive. They're changing up their style just a little bit here. See what they can do. Vipa is going to get picked up, and so is Boar. Cake getting the body shot onto him, which is good shot. The lash is going to go down. Now Cake does as well. Slemnish picking up too, but Toast actually gets the backstab onto Skis. So if they can protect Zenith here, they might be able to push back in, because it looks like the US team is going to have mid. But the fact that they kept Zenith and they have 100%, once they get those respawns, you know they're going to be hungry to try to get 2 points off of that, because they can't really hold second right now.
Definitely, and Denmark kind of mirrored the mid from USA earlier on. They just played it passive, tried to wait for the picks. Cake was the one to get the pick, took down Boar. But in the end, there was just a lot of damage from the USA. They just got a lot of damage down onto the Danish players as Toast gets a backstab onto Jarrett there. So demo down for the US. Maybe an opening here. They do have the Uber advantage, and they are starting to push out through lower. Boar is there, trying to maybe go for a hero snipe, but Pretzel's going to clean him up. And again, Split is going to be here now, but Carl went down to Cake there. I missed that shot. So it's going to be an opportunity for Denmark to do something. Split is trying to get focused and actually does survive. Gets back out to the point only for Cake to body shot him. Unfortunate, but Viper is Viper's on the backhand. He's on second point box, and there's only Toast to try and deal with him.
This actually could get pretty close. Something actually forced out Zenith, and I didn't see specifically what it was. But they are going to cap up on this point, but now they got to worry because the US team built their Uber in time, and now just like a solo Uber onto Slemnish picks up 2. That's Pretzel and Overdose going down, and the US team is already capping back up on second point. But this is that kind of leapfrogging Ubers that you can get back into, because now Zenith is going to be at advantage, however slight, about 15-20%. But they do still need to worry. US doesn't want to get leapfrogged back over to mid here, and that's where still maybe 5 CP can come down.
Yeah, America are getting very aggressive here. They're pushing into lower. And I'm not sure if Denmark are aware. Zen is actually holding on top, but Potato, I think, has seen them now, and they are rotating towards the top. And it's only about a 10% advantage. That advantage is not as big as it could have been, perhaps, as there's a level 1. Thalash takes it down, though. 100% now for Denmark, so they're probably going to be able to block this, but there's a lot of cap time on the point here as Denmark's flank is down, and USA are trying to push in here. Jarrett trying to sticky off Pretzel. Nice reflect, actually, just to keep himself alive, and the Uber is forced. I'm not sure why it was used. As Jarrett takes down Zen, that is going to be a drop, and I'm not sure what happened there. Just some stickies flung over to take him down, and Denmark lost a lot of players, and those alive are really weak here, and it could be 2-0 already for the USA.
Yeah, well, good job by Potato. He picked up Skis and then took down Jarrett, so that's 2 big picks by him there. Late frags as well, so Skis is going to be sitting at 10 seconds with Jarrett on that respawn, and it's going to completely stump and slow the US push. They're going to be sitting at probably about a 30% disadvantage, and depending on how aggressive Denmark wants to be, if they can find a pick, they should know they have the advantage and should be able to push out of last. Cake is going to get the shot onto Boar. If only that came like 40 seconds from now, so they had Uber, they could probably push off of that, but they'll have to wait, most likely.
Yeah, I mean, the pick onto Boar could be enough for them to kind of aggress a little bit into the lobby, but they decide not to, and this is the kind of worry. This is what I was talking about earlier, where the early rounds can really dictate the flow of the game. So USA are 1-0 up on this map, and they haven't got much pressure on them now. They don't need to push here. They could just wait and stall it out and really frustrate Denmark into making a mistake, and then quickly get a second cap. So really the onus is onto Denmark here to make something happen, as we see Thalash trying to do exactly that, but gets taken down by Slemnish, who is kind of pounding right now. He's got 2 domination and has 5 more points than his medic already. But Denmark are 3 down. It is the flank and the spy, so nothing too huge. But Boar is trying to take space now. walking in through the balcony, and actually Uber is used by USA. They're trying to get aggressive here. Zen does have his charge, is not using it, dodging those stickies to great effect, hasn't taken a point of damage yet, as Cake is dominating ball, but a lot of time onto the point. Actually, Tsukima is there. He's going to get absolutely mulched there by the sticks from Dr. Phil. But the Uber was used by Denmark, 3 down for both teams, and it's going to be a question whether Denmark want to push off of that, as they are picking up a couple of more kills. Split goes down quite late on, but USA is still in here, Vox, and Carl looks like he wants to push again.
Yeah, this could be one of those damned if you do, damned if you don't moments. Like that, if this may be their best chance to get out, but that point is so far capped that if someone falls asleep for a second, it could be an issue. As a Cake gets the headshot onto Zakima, but Boar gets the body shot onto Zenith. That's not really a perfect trade from there. It's pyro for a medic, and that's great for the US team. They decide to use the Uber in. There's not getting too much right now. A few frags as actually Boar gets a headshot onto Cake. Jarrett gets one more. Slemnish gets another. And I think this may be it. I don't know. We've got 2 players alive as finally the US does focus the point. Maybe a little late on the focus there, but I think they knew they had time with all those late frags coming in.
Yeah, that was really good play there by Jarrett. I mean, a lesser demo man, maybe a more experienced demo man, would just go for the point and try to sticky himself up, get some cap time. But Jarrett just played in the river there, just waited for the players to come to him, stickied them up and took them down. Cynthia tried to charge him, and she got taken down quite easily with the sticks. And he got a lot of damage out that way. So we are onto our third mid fight now. The advantage definitely in the hands, but Jarrett's going to get pressured here. Goes down very, very early on to the Lash. Great bomb by him. He's now in behind in the choke, and USA are stuck in their banana. Ski just quite low. Actually has to back out here. And that looks like a fairly comprehensive mid-fight win for Denmark, just based on that early frag onto Jarrett, taking that ground as Toast takes down Boar, who's trying to escape. So 4 down now for the USA, and maybe an opportunity for Denmark to start towards their enemies lobby for a change.
Yeah, this map is so well based on momentum, as most of 5 CP is, so they've got to feel pretty good off of that mid win. Skis did back out, so they have Uber to block if they want. They do use Uber onto Slemnish, who's going to pick up Dr. Phil, which is a great pick during this Uber. Flashing around as best he can is Zenith, but looks like it's not going to be enough as Skis goes down to Pretzel.
Wow, and there's only 4 players left alive for actually Lashley's on the point. And he gets He was surrounded by 4 American players, and they tried to get onto the point, but just a cheeky little juggle there from the original spam, and Thalash is just taking his team, putting them onto his shoulder, and just carrying them across into that round. So that's going to make it 2-1 from start to finish. Thalash was the man there, as 4th mid-fight coming up, Vox, and Denmark starting to creep in. Definitely the advantage still here for the USA. Is Jarrett playing on the floor this time, a little bit more protected. Instead it's Dr. Phil who's going to get pressured, but Zen with the nice arrow to keep him alive. Cake is in the choke and kind of separated here and gets taken down very, very easily. So this time the aggression from America just kind of dominating this mid-fight, and Zen is going to be lucky to get out here with his alive, trying to escape. He's got Split. Actually does a nice little surf there. Can he survive? He's going through lower. Split is on the chase. Split is 6 HP. He cannot catch him, and Zen somehow, the magician, has managed to get out there and escape. The great escape coming in there from Zendini, shall we call him? You know, like Houdini, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I got it. I like it. I mean, that is really a huge play, because it means you lose second as you already were, but you don't have to lose last off of this. Cake has a headshot onto Spamfest, and I mean, now Zen is going to have 100% Uber to defend with should the US team decide to push in. So huge play by the Danish medic, but now Vipa is behind. You got to be careful. He might go in for something right now. He does get caught out. Good job as Carl gets taken out. Jumping in is Split. Oh god, that was really close, but he manages to stay alive.
Yeah, hell of a shot there just to take him down. As 3 players down for the USA, but again, Denmark not really feeling too comfortable pushing out on that, but actually scratched out. Dr. Phil and Zen starting to venture forward towards lobby, and Slemnish is going to punish them for that. Takes down Dr. Phil as Tsukima wins the Pyro battle, taking down Pretzel. So 2 players dead here for Denmark, as Zen has to use his Uber, but he's got a much better Uber. Most of it's going to be used onto Overdose. Potato took down Boar in the back lines, so no worries about snipes coming in from him. Carl is going to hold his ground in the lobby, but it does look like a pretty poor push. But Viper comes in with the backstab to take down Zen, and that's probably going to trigger a repush here from the USA. They are 4 down, but they do have an uber advantage here and the heals, as Zen is down for another 10 seconds.
Yeah, that's a perfect last minute pick by Viper there, and I mean those are big boy picks, and that could take this round for the US team. They're going to be sitting at a 60% advantage right now. If they can just make sure that they keep skis protected and don't lose too many players before the push, don't bleed players, they should be able to close this out. But hero plays happen every second of every day, so it's going to be up to Denmark to see what they can do to kite when the Uber comes in and swallow that Uber.
Yeah, Cake though holding his own with the sniper. He's going to take down Paul, but he gets down himself, and the Uber does come in. Pretzel doing the best he can just to reflect it away, but Slemnish is just picking up frags, but Potato says, I can do the same. Picks a couple up from himself as well. 4 alive here for the USA, but one of the Tsukima, he's on the point, and Viper's going to come in for the backstab. Can he do it? Zen is trying to get there and get us in with the Uber Saw. 2 very weak American players, and the Uber is used by Zen. Cake is going to get that pan out to take down Viper, and what looked like it could be a push out from Denmark out onto the second point has turned out to be a clutch last hold. As the USA could very, very nearly have won that and made it 3-1, and that would have definitely put the pressure on. So USA probably going to have another chance to push last with an Uber advantage here.
Yeah, this is, I mean, that's a big play by Zen there to get the Ubers, get the Uber to block the point as well. I mean, the Ubers are pretty even, about 10-15% now. And the in advantage for the US. They do lose Akima, so he should respawn in time. Getting onto the point right now is Split focusing it. He does go down, but Potato and Sinter get traded. So this may look good for US as they might push in with 100%. Spamfest is actually in behind, gets taken out. They do have 100%, the US do, but only Jarrett was around, so choosing not to use the Uber solo on the demo, wait for the team to get there, and looks like they are going to jump over those stickies, Uber trade onto the point, blocking as best they can, and they just bring Slemnish in, not able to do much off of it. Maybe they were just trying to get the Ubers out of the way and didn't really care much about trying to take the point off the Uber, but either way, maybe a little strange play there by the US team.
No, I think you're right. I think that was their plan, just to actually get the Uber trade and force some of those players down onto the floor, because the cap was so very close to being finalized. But it is degrading as we go on. But Slemnish is actually going to come in from behind, takes down Flash, and now the frags are just being focused. Players are getting onto the point for the USA. Carl is there. He is about half HP. Overdose gets a clutch arrow just to stay alive, and actually going to pick up 2 frags to make him into a 4K toast with the backstab, but there's only 2 alive. Overdose is not going to get onto the point there, and it makes it 3-1. And I think, to finish what I was saying, I think they just wanted to get the Uber trade so that they could just focus the point there, which is exactly what they did when there were no Ubers in play. Forced the Danish players down onto the point, and then they just collapsed onto it, put all their damage onto that area, and it allowed the rest of the players to just kind of that second wave to finish off the cap. So 3-1 for the USA right now. On to our next mid-fight with just under half the game to go. And Dalash is going to go for another bomb, but this time Slemnish is there, but gets taken down by Cake. So first frag is going to get there, but then Boar takes down Dr. Phil.
Yeah, Slemnish is a big frag right now, but Split actually gets behind, takes down both Cake and Zen, so that's a big play by the Soldier right there. Only a few players left alive, Flash, Overdose, and Toast. Flash trying to see if he can get anything done, but he was too low of health to really do anything, and now backing up is Overdose, and because they lost Zen here, they're at a huge Uber disadvantage, and that's always scary, so they really need to make sure that they can build their Uber and just slow down the US until they get close, at least.
Absolutely. I mean, Zen's already at 25%, and USA haven't actually started capturing second yet. Well, they have, as I say that now, and they're holding quite far forward here. Cake's in a position to maybe make a snipe onto someone, but nobody can actually get any damage. Only frag to go down is Viper, which isn't the biggest of kills to get, as Slemnish is getting quite aggressive. It gets taken up with the lash, so there's going to be no Slemnish, who's been absolutely crucial on this map so far for the USA, so that probably buys a little bit more time here for Denmark to set up their defenses, as Zen is now up to 70%. It's actually just trying to build a little bit more with those arrows trying to get that Uber in time for the defense. Slemnish is going to respawn now, but I think Zen's going to have his Uber in time. So that kill from Thalash really helping his team. But, you know, at 3-1, there is no pressure on the USA at all. They can just sit back here and wait for something to happen. That would be big enough for them to push into and guarantee a win, because Denmark have to get back into this game. They're 1 map down and they are 3-1 down on this second map. If they do not get back at least 2 rounds, then they will be out with a silver medal. And I think USA are just going to wait on Boar now. I think it's just kind of waiting for Boar to get a pick and make something done.
Yeah, he'll probably be either pushing from the riverside, or I've seen him go try to get something done in lobby, and that's where he is right now as he gets the headshot onto Dr. Phil. So good pick by him there. And now it looks like the US team pushing down the river. They want to use this Uber. They get in on the mini sentry. It doesn't actually go down. Potato and Toast get picked off as the Uber comes in late from the Danish team. I don't know, they didn't really push forward with it at all. They just want to use it to block the point, which seems smart. They might be able to catch out Ceejaey if someone chases. Slemnish gets taken out by overdose. But okay.
Viper just walks onto the point to cap it. And again, I have to credit Jarrett there with that push. He was so very weak after the Uber exchange, and he still just stayed in river. And people tried to contest him. I think in the end it was Thalash who tried to bomb him, but he was just putting damage out. And that's what the USA are doing. When the Uber exchange comes in, they just stay in after it's all over and try to keep putting damage down and make plays off of that damage. Just Thalash goes for the same bomb he's done the past 2 rounds, and again Slemnish is going to be the one who dies. Split also goes down, so no huge plays from him this mid-fight. Zuhima gets taken out by Potato as Thalash goes in for another bomb. Toast gets the backstab onto Boar and Jarrett. So that is 2 alive now for the USA. Ceejaey is running away. He's got nobody to help him, as it is only Spamfest, and he's going to die very, very late on. Another long respawn for him. But yeah, this is going to be 100% for Zen, and Denmark might be able to push this with a big advantage if they go quickly, as Ceejaey is only about 80% right now.
Yeah, I really like that push. They understand the situation right now.
Sorry to interrupt, but it's crits on Zen. And it's going to be really interesting to see if USA know this. If they do, it's going to be really a big struggle for Denmark. But if they don't know, they can go for the surprise shot.
Yeah, this is, I mean, this is Denmark just going for broke. They know right now that the pressure's all on them. They need to come back in a big way, and they need to get at least 3 rounds here. Oh no, the first sticky actually hits the pillar in the middle, so they're very aware of the crits and they use to block. But right now, ×2 going down on the point, just getting in on it. It's so close, but collapsing in time. Spamfest and Slemnish getting onto that point. Wow, almost had the round win off of that.
Yeah, USA are taking no chances. They got a level 3 on that point. There's only 3 players, and that level 3 is going to go down to overdose. And Thalash actually picks up a pick onto Boar, so they have to worry about any snipes. Zen is building this Uber, but it's sort of still not a huge advantage. It's only about 10%. As Ceejaey is also trying to build his Uber as quickly as possible. Remember, there is going to be a very, very short window here for a crit to come down before Ceejaey gets his Uber, and that's what Denmark are relying on. They're relying on getting that medic kill and then following up on that damage as they reach 100% just now. Dr. Phil charging up a sticky, in it comes, focusing onto the point. There's actually nothing there. The stickies aren't going to take anything, but they do take down Jarrett, so there's no demo to defend that point, and Slemnish also goes down, but Dr. Phil is going to get headshot. And now Zen and Pretzel are underneath, but Carl is just there. Carl is the bouncer. He's just saying, nope, you guys got to get through me if you're going to get towards this point. As Toast is going to make a play onto Ceejaey, and he gets the backstab. Medic down. He's going to focus onto the point now. He's going to get cleaned up himself. But the USA have lost their medic. They've lost their heals, and it's another chance for Denmark to maybe get back into this.
Yeah, they are going to have a 60% ad. They're still on crit, so that sentry gun could be a problem. But maybe if enough people focus it down, they should be able to get in. 85 right now. Boar and Slemnish are down. Those are the 2 biggest players. K gets the body shot onto Ceejaey, so this is looking really, really good. And the crits get used, takes down Split. Might be able to take down Jarrett. He does. They need to focus this gun, get in on the point. Carl is there to defend as he takes down Thalash. Couple members, and now it is a 4-2 game. It is still in Denmark's court, though. They need to take 2 rounds in just about 8 minutes.
I don't think you guys can see on the cast, but right now the team name for Denmark is Vroom. as in they gotta go fast. They need to be Formula 1 speed. They've got 8 minutes left. They need to get 2 rounds, 4-2. If the USA get another round, it is going to be nigh on impossible for Denmark to get back into this. But the early frag is going to be Boar. He takes down Dr. Phil, and USA have just basically won the mid-fight off of that one frag. Denmark deciding they're not going to contest without their demo man that early onto the fight. And you see that in sixes sometimes. It's kind of rare to see in Highlander where one player dies. As Spamfest dies somehow, he created somehow, not sure how that happened, but once again Zen is on the crits, so I'm going to be interesting to see if the Lash is going to be the recipient of this crits here. As they do come round, he's going to use it, takes out Viper, and he takes out Skis, but the reflect from Zukima is going to take down the Lash. 3 down for 3 down here for Denmark, but the most important thing is Zen survived, and Dr. Phil is back there blocking that choke. And that was a big play from Thalasher, that last rocket that actually hit a player, taking down the medic. Toast takes down Boar. So Denmark losing players, but they're getting the crucial picks right now.
Yeah, a very, very big pick on those crits. I mean, you don't get that kill, you probably can kiss second goodbye. So really, really good job by them there. They're waiting for their players to respawn, and they're just probably going to try to wait for this next crits. It's going to be up in maybe about 15-20 seconds, and then they can use in yet again and hopefully wipe them back into second. And that's what you're hoping for if you're on the Danish team. So it looks like they may... I don't know. Are they rotating over to Big Door? Or are they waiting by choke? They do have crits right now. It looks like they might use it onto Dr. Phil here in choke in just a second. As they get aggressive, they use it in. Dr. Phil not able to connect. Actually gets Carl off of it. Switches it over to Overdose. But Skis is pretty well away at this point, and they really need to get in on mid right now. Otherwise, that crits will be all for naught.
Chariot's still on in the mid fight here as he's going to connect with his medic as Zukima's trying to escape. Pretzel trying to chase. Stalash with the bomb, trying to get in deep and actually forces the Uber. So no Uber for the USA here. They're going to try and defend a little bit with Jarrett, but Denmark are on the point and they're almost certainly going to get this cap right now. 5 minutes 45 seconds for them to go. A lot of players weak here for Denmark. Pretzel was 1 HP, gets cleaned up by Carl, and Dr. Phil is also very weak. Sinter gets cleaned up by Slemnish, but there is a crits in the hands for Denmark. And we'll see what happens as she comes in, takes down Skis, takes down Split, a lot of damage, double backstab from Toast. He's going to take down Jarrett and Carl. So that is 4 huge kills right now for Denmark. And they have to recapture this midpoint, but they're going to have a big crits advantage for the next point, Vox. And I'm going to guess they might be able to capture second off the back of this as well.
Yeah, they got to get the players aggressive now. They've got to worry about just a few people. Actually, all the respawns come in at the same time. Skis has got to be careful. He could get juggled and taken out by Shutter. I mean, the U.S. is committing everything right now to hold this point. If they lose it here, they could lose last. 75% are the crits. They are... just got to worry about Carl, who's just mowing people down on the point. Someone's got to get in on him, right? As actually everyone from the U.S. team is now back out to try to contest second. Gotta worry, Viper gets the backstab onto Overdose. If they had gotten those crits, Laser Beam Heavy is very, very powerful at distances like that. But Viper getting the clutch backstab, and that just really gotta hurt. You lost so many players before you could cap the point.
Yeah, I mean, Jarrett was in a good position there, but got taken down by Dr. Phil. And in the end, they just kind of bled players, which is just the US mentality. It seems they just stay aggressive no matter what, and it is catching teams off guard. And Denmark maybe thought they could just take second for free, and in the end they couldn't. So 4 minutes to go. I mean, you're American, Vox. I'm not going to hold it against you, but there is a legendary moment in European TF2 history where TCM Bytes showed how quickly you can go from last to last on Gullywash. It is possible to just roll the points very, very quickly. That was admittedly in sixes, but you know, people always hold it close to their heart. It is possible for quick rounds to be done in this game. With less than 4 minutes to go, Denmark need to be like Sonic the Hedgehog combined with, I don't know, Mario on steroids. Like, they need to be super fast and get all the way to the last point. Zen is at 100%, but so is Skis, and the difference is Skis is on Uber. I'm assuming Zen is still on his crits, as the crits does come in here onto Dr. Phil. They're going to pick up 2 frags, and the Uber is used, but they've dropped 4 players here, Vox, so maybe another chance for Denmark.
Yeah, they really got to move quick, and I really hope. Actually, Skis goes down. Overdose gets the final shot onto him, as they should cap up on mid here. Only got to worry about that mini sentry. Does get taken out. They should be able to cap second on this. There's Vipa hiding in choke. Maybe. Oh no! Looks like he's spotted out by Potato. Should get the frag. I hope, as he dead rings away actually. But they got to get in on second and cap it right now. 2 minutes 45 seconds remaining on the clock. Carl doing a good job denying from that upper area right now, as Split bombs in to try to just back him off of choke, and it's working. Denmark, they're waiting for this crits. I don't know how much time they have left to continue waiting, because pretty soon they're gonna have a perfect game if they want to tie this up.
Yeah, time is a luxury they can't afford, but Overdose comes in, and he's going to take down Skis. So that he's no medic for the USA right now. Maybe that's the opening they need. Split goes down to the crit stickies, but not much else has gone down. Jarrett there trying to get aggressive, and Carl is just holding that upper ground. He's just the bouncer. As soon as everybody else dies for the US, he is the man that says, right, the rest of you have to walk in. He gets enough damage down onto Zen, and Slemnish is going to finish it up. A hell of a shot there by Cake to take down the scout. And actually, there is Potato and Cynthia on the cap. So less than 2 minutes now. Denmark need to get into last and cap this before they even get onto the next round and try to get a fourth round. But at 4-2, USA are holding all the cards right now. They're holding all the aces, and it's going to take an insane stroke of luck, a hero play, something absolutely insane for Denmark to get back into this.
Yeah, this is scary. Toast actually comes in, gets a backstab on the Skis, and maybe the start they need, but now they need to continue. They need to follow up. ×2 going on point. Good job by Potato. Gets it so close. The sap goes in on the gun. And he caps the point!
Toast
minute
goes
15.
in, just shanks the air, gets rid of that disguise, is going to cap it. But a minute, like, you need to...
It needs to be perfect.
It needs to be perfect. I'm just looking at the chat as Pretzel says, you guys are okay. Don't come to mid tomorrow. Just, as Denmark know, they need to destroy on this mid and roll it all the way to last. So we're going to see what happens. Cake takes out Slemnish. Big run from Split. Overdose is already on the enemy side. He's going to get a lot of damage down, but he's going to get taken down. And Denmark have lost 3 or so far on this mid-fight. Cynthia has actually got the cap down by herself. Well played by her.
took out Zen. Vipa took out Zen. That is disastrous. Sorry to cut you off, but that could be the pick that seals this.
Absolutely. No heals for Denmark. They have got ×2 on the next point, but they are being contested. Viper takes down Cake, and Potato found himself surrounded by a bunch of Americans being ganged up on. The bullies they are, but they do take him down. And that is gonna. There's GG's being called in chat by both teams. Uber is used on the middle point. 5 seconds left to go, and I think we can safely announce that the USA have won the 2017 edition of the Highlander Nations Cup. And they are going to win their second title to draw level with Sweden, who have also won 2 titles. Denmark, who missed out in the semi-finals last time around, have come agonizingly close, very, very close. 2-0 on Upward, but 4-3 on Gully Wash. Denmark almost clawing it back on their opponent's map. But in the end, the USA proved too strong and have won the tournament. I mean, Vox, hashtag no bias, but is that deserved, do you think, over the entire course of the competition? Do you think USA have been the best side?
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, from what I've seen, the way they played, without fear, just hyper aggressive, and they just brought that attitude into every game. And I mean, they continued to perform. They relied on their playmakers, and they showed up to every game. They never really had a bad round, a bad half, and if they did, the rest of the team was there to pick them up. So I mean, the fact that they can do this, and although it got maybe a little dicey there at the end, but do it confidently, and I know right now they got to be feeling pretty happy. Obviously a lot of time has been spent throughout this competition by every team, but to come out with the first place, especially I know there's probably going to be some hot takes and fresh memes going down about ping advantage and everything like that. But either way, just the gameplay, the strategy is overall what wins them this tournament.
Absolutely, and just taking a look at the logs, and it's familiar faces who have done the work again. Slemnish there with 40 frags in the half an hour that we played. Wow, just getting over 10,000 damage, 379, which was very close to being. I mean, it's the highest other than the demos in the game. Very, very well played by him. Carl as well, just behind him in second there, 32 kills. Just seemed to be that stopping block for Denmark. They get frags, and generally you think, oh, you take down the demo, you take down the pirate, that's going to be easy to push him through a choke, or take down the sniper, that gives you more space. But Carl just seemed to be the man who was the next level of defense, and I think that caught them out a few times, just surprised them perhaps. I don't know. Top fragging for Denmark. Take a look at the next four fraggers. It's Denmark, Toast with 28, Potato with 26, Dr. Phil 25, and Cake with 24, actually getting more kills than Boar, who was down with 21 there alongside Jarrett. But, I mean, the logs don't really tell the whole story. I think there were mid-fights that were won convincingly by Denmark and convincingly won by USA. And in the end there, I just think there was a couple of moments where, if the crits had been hit perfect, or, if the medic had survived, or, they'd finished off a player like Carl at the right time, they could have maybe got back into this. But it's those slim margins that in a grand final like this really do make the difference.
Yeah, it was deadly close. I mean, there's always going to be those things. Oh, if we had stopped this, if there were 31 minutes in this game, all those little things. And it's definitely gotta be heartbreaking to come this far and really to have a strong comeback. They were down, what was it? Was it 4-1 or was it only 4-2? I mean, either way, a comeback like that, bringing it so close to... It was
actually 4-1, yeah.
4-1, yeah. And picking up those two rounds pretty quickly, recognizing how far down they were and what they needed to do. They started getting a plan in action, and they came back and, had things gone a little bit differently. And, I mean... As you can say with any sport or any tournament that's ever happened, if we had done this, then who knows what could have happened. But... either way, it's just a really, really strong showing out of Denmark. Kind of what we were saying, you can't have that defeatist attitude. You can't go down around and be like, oh, all right, let's throw in the towel. Let's get ready for the next map. I think Denmark competed from start to finish in this, and it really showed.
Definitely. And, I think that... I think another thing, like I was saying earlier about the high seed group, those were the teams that were predicted to do well. USA were not in that group. And in the end, they've knocked out 3 of those teams. And sometimes you can say, this team had an easy route to the final, or, this team had an easier side of the bracket or anything like that. But the USA had to play against France, England, Germany, and Denmark on the way to winning this. So you could say that they have played against really, really strong teams. And, there's no easy... I mean... There was always going to be a question mark, I feel, that, if Sweden could have fielded a roster against Russia, they were the overwhelming favourites. They did have a lot of experience. They pretty much had multiple title winners on every single class. But, if you can't get the players to turn up on the day, then, and you can't play the game, then there's no way of knowing. And a Sweden-USA final would have also been a tantalising experience. But Denmark, I feel like... Before the competition, maybe people underestimated them. They're not scrimming, they're not playing that much. But when you take a look at the players on show, they've done very well to get this far as well. And I'm sure they're going to be disappointed. Not too disappointed. I think they've enjoyed playing with each other and getting this far. But in the end, yes, the USA winning it and taking their second title. So, I mean, the way that ETF2L goes, next year is going to be Sixes Nations Cup. It'd be interesting to see if USA field a team for that. But... there won't be another Highlander until 2019, if that's ever going to happen. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I mean, Vox, we're not being joined by interviews, so have you got anyone you want to shout out to before we sign off?
I just big props to everyone on the US team. I mean, just taking extra time out of your day and putting on a show for everyone. At the end of the day, it's a show match. It's to drum up some interest, get some viewers, get some people looking at the game that we've all spent just way too many hours playing. So big props to the US team. It's kind of a different time of the day for them, and making sure that they got the players around and they put on a match. But I mean, that also extends to every team that participated as well. And I haven't, I'm gonna be honest, I haven't watched too many of the Nations Cups, but I mean, this is a bear. I can say, you know, I've organized some tournaments to get everyone involved and to try to get everything going swimmingly. So a huge props to everyone involved to put on this competition. And I mean, things never go off without a hitch, but it really turned out well, I think.
Absolutely. I think it's been a good competition, and we've had some absolutely insane games. I mean, sometimes you have teams like in the early stages, fair enough, you have some roles where there's teams that don't really have the same depth of talent. They don't have that pool of players to choose from. But once we get to the knockout stages, there's been some absolutely crazy games, and it's been very very entertaining to see all of them all the way through. And it's been great that we've been able to cast so many of them, especially the grand final. I do believe we do have the third place playoff still to play, so maybe not as climactic as the grand final itself, but we will have Russia versus Germany playing each other at some point to decide who's going to pick up that bronze medal, which I think is going to be on Sunday. But yeah, I'm gonna give a nice big shout out to Wiethoofd for doing the production during this tournament and just doing so much with the organising. Him and Arjex have been great, just grabbing casters and getting them in here and making sure there's been people able to talk over the games while the players play them, and also to you, Vox. It's been nice casting with you a couple of times. It's hopefully we do more in the future. We'll have to try and sort something out, and it's been great fun as well. Thanks to the ETF2L team to making sure this tournament gets constructed, and of course to all of the players for playing. This would have, of course, not happen without you guys actually turning up for your games and putting on quite a show. So thank you all for watching. This has been the ETF2L Highlander Nations Cup of 2017 Grand Final. United States taking it 2-0. That is Upward 2-0 and Gullywash 4-3. Denmark taking the silver medal and going home the runners-up. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time.